welcome to the Post-Human Podcast.
Welcome to the Post-Human Podcast, folks. Tonight we have two guests. So tonight we have Kevin and Erin from the podcast that wouldn't die. Thank you for coming on, guys. How are you both?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm very good. This is my first episode where I'm going to have to negotiate two people. So not only have I got no cannabis to make this transaction smoother for me, I'm loaded up on coffee. So we'll get through it. So I'd first want to say you're almost 100 episodes in, and absolutely hella impressed. That's serious commitment. I'm only 25 now, so you've got like quadruple the episodes I have. So the dedication, huge admiration now.
We just don't have anything else going on in our lives. So we won't die. We just keep rolling on.
I was just briefly saying to Erin before you joined us that I was just going to try and sneak in some of an episode, and I was going to listen to the 2001 cast that you did. And just as the audio was connecting, I had the waltz in my head. So right. I'm glad that you included that at the start of your podcast, because it's a very good way to start.
I literally just added that this morning.
Oh, really?
We timed it just perfectly. It's funny. We've been doing this almost 100 episodes, but we're still figuring things out. So we just learned how to add trailers to the show, like literally last week. So perfect timing.
I haven't even made a normal trailer. That's how behind I feel. I'm miles behind. I don't know how. I know what I want to do with it, but it's like, I've got to cut this edit, and I've got to. It's just I don't like editing. It's just me being lazy. So
right.
Well, that's why I don't do it at all. I just show up. I watch the movie, and then I show up.
So which was your favourite? Because I've ran through your list. I've pretty much seen most of the films on there that you've reviewed. Which was the most favourite for you guys to do together? Guy, girls. Sorry, I should casually change that last bit. How was it for you people? That sounds even worse.
Erin, you want to go first?
Well, strangely, the funniest ones are never the best movies.
Right.
Because, I have my little notebook. I have like this little moleskin that I take my notes, and all the best movies have about 2 inches of notes. It's the ones that trying to be serious, but are not serious, but at the same time not boring.
Okay.
Right.
So I think we did a double whack Suspiria. We did the original Suspiria, and then we piled on the reimagining of the Suspiria. So when you're talking Argento, there's lots to unpack. So those are the ones that I think are so funny because it's such strangeness going on. So it gives you more to really riff on. So I'm going to say that the Suspiria make it a double.
One of my favorites was Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
Woo! What a great film!
Which is the one? It's dynamite. I have to tell you, it has the honor of being the only one without Michael Myers, because it's totally like off the rails already.
Who wrote that plot? The plot to that there's no continuity between 2 and 4. There's just these stupid masks. It's ridiculous.
Right. That's exactly. Well, we were talking about it. The plot makes absolutely no sense because it's like this guy comes from Ireland and steals one of the Stonehenges and like is putting that in the Halloween masks that they're selling, and they have to watch a commercial at a certain time. But of course, there's time zones. So somebody in California is not going to be watching the commercial at the same time somebody in New York is watching. It makes It is totally off the rails, and I love it because it's like the doctor is like, this is peculiar. I think I'm going to investigate the crime. It's like, why not call the cops? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? So that one was hilarious. Another hilarious one was Prophecy, which was one I hadn't seen, where it was like the dangers. Armando Sante, absolutely. The dangers of pollution, basically, causes a giant mutant bear to attack. And there's a hilarious scene where it's like a family camping and the monster attacks, and you literally see somebody like hide in their sleeping bag. It's like,
it looks like a gummy bear that you have left in the back of your car and melted.
Right.
Except it's giant. Because it literally is not articulated. It just kind of rocks back and forth to move.
Have you ever seen the Jack Frost horror?
I have never seen any of the Jack Frost movies.
I have seen the Jack Frost horror.
They're very good.
Oh yes, it's a classic. What's great about that one is there was a family film, called Jack Frost with Michael Keaton that came out the same.
Don't get those two confused.
Don't mix them up, because the horror one, he's like a serial killer rapist.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit at the start. Well, it only sort of briefly mentions that at the start, that he is a serial killer rapist who then gets cryogenically fucked up and turned into ice, and it's very ridiculous, but it's very funny.
Don't bring your kids to the wrong one. It's basically the moral of the story.
Can you imagine how many people that year got a bootleg VHS of that? Because it would have been VHS then. So some great father would have been bringing home what would have he would have thought would have been Michael Keaton, Jack Frost,
and I got Jack Frost that you wanted to
watch.
watch.
30 seconds in. Woo. I don't remember it starting like this.
That's hilarious. That kind of reminds me. I started liking horror growing up because actually Erin, who's much older than me. It's important to note. It's important to note. And my other older siblings would be watching horror movies. And I remember one time I had a babysitter. And I was like, I want to watch Fantasia. Fantasia is going to be on TV, right?
Phantasm.
It was not Fantasia.
Phantasm. With the orbs.
Not the same movie.
Yeah, no.
Not the same movie. And of course, back then, it's like you're not, popping in a VHS. You're literally just turning it on, looking in the TV guide, and hoping that's when it's, when it's on. So when we're turning in, it's like the graveyard scene where the guy's like about to have sex and she's literally taking her top. I'm like, what is happening? Where's Mickey?
That scene on the stairs where he's pissing around with the wand, that could have been a totally different scene. I could now imagine.
I will tell you, I have never seen Fantasia. And even as a child, it looked terrible to me.
Oh, it's really good.
Right.
It's really good. Just don't confuse it with Phantasm.
That is true.
I'm sure there's probably another film that you could easily confuse it with that's totally worse. I'm sure there is. If we put our brains together, we'd be able to think of it. But we spoke about some really shit films. One of the films on your list was Basket Case.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Second and the third, also amazing. Have you ever seen, made by the same director, because he did Frankenhooker as well? And then he also did Brain Damage, if you've heard of that, with Aylmer. Yeah, that's.
We're 3 for 3 right there. It's like a unholy trilogy.
Yeah.
I always thought Frankenhooker would be a fantastic musical. Could we see that off Broadway? That would be glory.
Be like Rocky Horror.
That's off Broadway.
Yeah, it'd be like Tim Curry's out of Rocky Horror meets like The Evil Dead or some weird shit like that. That's how I could see that.
Couple of snappy tunes, boom.
You can't beat it.
The Brain Damage is a film that's obviously gets a lot of shit because of the weird fellatio scene. Where,
I'm getting PTSD flashbacks. Just about that right now.
With weird, creepy music as well.
That's one of Kevin's classics.
No, but hang on. That's not one of my classics. I don't go to bat for Brain Damage. I think Basket Case is all right. Frankenhooker's a couple steps below that, and Brain Damage is way below that.
It's almost a shame that obviously they kind of get a bit of shit now, don't they? 2 and 3, because obviously, you know, they're the freaks. There's no other way you can put it. Let's be real.
Right.
I can say I'm going to get away with saying that because I've got 3 toes on my right foot. I think I'm okay to use that word. If I can call it myself, we're all good.
Is that like dropping the N-word? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. It's the less troublesome version. I don't quite think I'm going to.
Can you equate yourself with the guy in the basket, by the way?
Yeah.
Is that what's implied?
Yeah. No, the only reason it is, and the only reason I've got the 3 toes is that I've got an evil twin lurking around the New York subway system right now. And he's meant to be here, so if you see him and you ever go to New York, ring me, because he needs locking up.
But you don't keep him in a basket or like a cooler or anything. He's not under the desk right now.
No, I think he's in somebody's beer cooler, because I think wicker baskets nowadays carrying them around is a bit suspicious. So it's probably in a beer cooler that's got fucking Lakers written on it or something. I don't know. I don't know.
It was so ridiculous. He carries this dude in a wicker basket with like a steel padlock on it. It's wicker.
I actually forgot the fact that it had a hefty padlock. Like deadbolts and shit, like.
Right.
It's crazy. It's still one of the greatest scenes ever, though. Just the claymation model.
The claymation.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
That's not Ray Harryhausen, though. I'll tell you what. It's just like preschool claymation. Yeah.
Not Ray Harryhausen. That's
No.
true. You're correct.
I'm pretty sure that there was children's cartoons that had better claymation than what that film
It
did.
was like the Gumby and Pokey.
Right.
See, I know a little bit about American stuff more than I do UK, so that joke can fly because I know who Gumby is. He's that weird green guy.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that didn't go over my head, surprisingly.
Yeah, and then I'm never sure what of our pop culture goes everywhere. I used to date someone who was Italian, and he didn't know anything that I've referenced. It was all like,
I think it just if you watch a lot of horror films, you can probably get a lot of the cult references because they just try to weave so much shit into it that you can just go, oh yeah, I've seen that in Friday the 13th or whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
Which you, I think you should have reviewed Jason X rather than the Friday the 13th that you did, because
it's not too late.
Jason X is another one of those good films. You know, it turns out he's in space in the end. You know?
oh my God, I haven't seen that one. And Kevin, when you were talking about the Halloween 3, you forgot to sing the song because it was hypnotic.
Oh,
Sing it.
Have a happy Halloween. Halloween. It's literally London Bridge is falling down.
Right,
That's what it is. It's just like we were not even going to take the time to come up with a new jingle.
They just went like 1 octave down or something. They put. It's like.
Erin, you haven't seen Jason X, but you're right. It takes place. It's in the future in space. Jason's attacking people on a spaceship, something like that.
Is this in conjunction with an Elon Musk project?
that's the reason that SpaceX was invented, to go and fight Jason in there.
Jason X? Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. I think it's clear.
Yeah, I think you've just literally uncovered a conspiracy right there. Yeah.
I'm sure the Illuminati and Donald Trump are involved in some way.
That was why they invented Space Force.
That's right.
That must be. It's got to be the reason. There can't be any other reason, surely.
Yeah, it can't be.
Another one that you reviewed was Leprechaun. Have you seen the Leprechaun in space?
You know what? I haven't seen Leprechaun in space, but I did see Leprechaun in
the
the hood.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So.
Genius.
Kevin loves the Leprechauns. I'm shocked you haven't seen Leprechauns in space.
I need to. Well, Warwick Davis is a national treasure.
Absolutely.
First of all, I mean, you can't throw a rock without hitting him 5 times. He was in Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. He was Willow, for goodness sake.
Oh, I love Willow.
Absolutely.
Harry Potter as well. He's been in pretty much.
He was.
He's been in loads.
No question.
I'm sure he's probably been in a lot more stuff than that, but obviously Leprechaun was the one that kind of made him a bit bigger, wasn't it?
Yeah, no question.
He used to have a reality show here too.
Yeah.
Was it
He had a show, I think it was on HBO called like Life's
Short,
Too
that's the
Short,
Yes.
where he was playing kind of like a fake version of himself. He said it where it was like Liam Neeson wanting to do improvisation comedy. It is the funniest thing. It is
amazing.
Also because Liam Neeson is like the tallest actor in Hollywood.
Right.
So that's just so many beautiful things.
Yeah, they did it with in
that was
conjunction with Ricky Gervais, didn't they? And Stephen Merchant. Yeah,
Yes.
brilliant. It's how serious is with those jokes as well. The jokes that he does they're funny because he's so serious. But obviously, you couldn't go on a stage and tell those jokes. But in that setting, with it being Liam Neeson as well, sells the shit out of it. Sells it.
Oh, it was dynamite. It was dynamite.
I gotta go back and watch those. I wonder if they're still streaming on HBO. Now that we're talking about that, I gotta
There's some
revisit that.
really good stuff that Ricky Gervais does. Have you ever seen Afterlife and Derek?
I have not seen
They're very good.
I've heard of them. I haven't seen them though.
Yeah, they're very good. There's some really good stuff. There's like Warwick Davis was also in a season of An Idiot Abroad. You ever seen that as well with Carl Pilkington?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So funny. So many funny things out there. How come you've not reviewed any? What made you want to choose horror films rather than like? Obviously, there's some in there that are kind of sci-fi, but I haven't really seen a full comedy.
No, I mean, we were
Go ahead.
fearful children growing up. I don't know what it is. I used to not be able to watch any horror films when I was a child. Like an ad for one of those 1970s horror movies of giant bugs would send me hysterical because I'd watch it and it would be my parents were going out to dinner and now I'm going to be alone in the house. When I saw Jaws, I didn't want to go in our swimming pool because I was sure there was a shark in the swimming pool.
Oh yeah.
And we lived in one of those like mid-century modern homes where it was just sliding glass doors everywhere. And I would lay awake at night wondering, how am I going to fortify this house with the coming of the zombies? There was no way. There was just going to be no way. I would have to sit on the roof and wait for the end to come. So I think as a reaction to that, I don't know if it's, again, some weird horror film PTSD. We just had to watch them to not be so fearful.
No, that makes sense.
Am I right or am I right, brother?
Oh, absolutely. It's catharsis.
That's what I was going to say.
Really
Yeah.
It's important to. I also think that it's more fun to kind of talk about movies where they're trying to be serious and don't always succeed. You know what I mean? It's
Those
like
are
you're
the
talking
ones that you can goof on, yeah.
Right. If you're talking about a comedy, you're either saying, "Look how funny this was already,"
Okay.
or it's like, "Yeah, that wasn't that funny." I don't know. That's kind of my thought.
that
process
makes sense.
behind it.
I don't think we review very often ones that are intentionally funny. It's funnier when they're trying to be serious, and you're like,
right. Frankly, it's like those like the Sharknado movies where you're getting the sense that they're trying to be kind of off.
Some of those have been really successful, though. Crazily enough.
The first,
I don't know how.
The first Sharknado is okay. The first Sharknado is okay.
Isn't Chris Pratt in them or something like that? Somebody stupidly famous.
Ian Ziering.
Ian Ziering from 90210.
Oh.
I don't know if that counts as stupidly famous.
Yeah, no.
But
I don't know who it was.
And Tara Reid?
Tara Reid. I was talking
Tara Reid.
about Tara Reid's performance in Sharknado, and it's like you can play a drinking game where it's just like, what emotion is she trying to convey? Who knows?
She's in, she's originally Scary Movie, wasn't she?
What was Tara Reid? Was
Yeah. Oh, that's the one. Sorry, American Pie. She was also in that low-budget disaster movie one, the date movie. Yeah,
I
with
didn't see
with
that one.
what's her name? She was from American Pie as well. Yeah, that's the one.
Shannon
Shannon
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth.
Who was in Jack?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
No,
all comes back together.
the circle closes.
Right?
That was amazing. The original Japanese one. That was so good. That was really
Yes.
good.
Oh yeah. Oftentimes, I mean, it makes sense. The original Japanese versions are far scarier than the American kind of remakes with Sarah Michelle Gellar or somebody. You know what I mean? You're like, we did The Grudge, Ju-on The Grudge, and that was terrifying. That was real. I always say I'm a grown ass man, and this was scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just making that
No
crazy
question.
creaking sound. I know my son
Right.
he's like, why do you keep watching these Japanese movies? Do you think their ghosts are scary? I'm like, no. It's because I'm so sick of the Hollywood just regurgitating the same thing.
Right.
Now that we're looking at other people's ghosts, it's new and fresh to us, so it's super creepy. We don't know the rules of what the Japanese spirits and ghosts do, you know.
Right.
It's all fresh, so that makes it extra creepy.
They seem like
No
they'd be
question.
more angrier for some reason. I don't know.
They do seem that way.
I think
No
I don't
question.
know. They seem like they'd be much more harder to deal with. Nothing against Japanese ghosts.
They can just stay
Yeah.
where they are. They can
But-
just stay where they are. But they're totally creepy, and you know, there's no really any expression on the face. They're just appearing. They're relentless, and there's.
I am
nothing
basing
you
that
can
on the
do
fact that
about
we
it.
have certified films and they don't. That's why. That's probably why their
That's-
ghost was probably not put up with so much shit. They're like, we ain't sticking to no 15 certification here, boys. It's time to scare the shit out of them.
It's, and you know what, we've talked about this, that for some reason I think ghost stories are just inherently creepier. You know what I mean? There's something about, like, we watched the first Conjuring movie. Terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Terrifying.
The first couple of Conjuring movies were incredible.
Yeah.
Because everybody lives in a house, you know? Everybody lives in a house. And everybody has been up late at night. And I've got wood floors and I've got a raised floor. I don't have a slab floor. So it's creaking and popping and what's
Doors
that
open
sound?
because of the bump in the floor.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
What's going
It's
on?
amazing that people would, because again, I used to have some wooden floors, and they used to be. I spilt loads of water on them, and obviously then it got into the wood, and then it fucked the wood, and then it wouldn't shut. It wouldn't shut properly.
Right.
You get what I mean? So you go to shut it, and it just bounced back. And I used to just go, "Yeah, it's a ghost," you know. For everybody else, yeah, it's a ghost. And to be honest, this house that I live in now is probably more haunted. Some weird moments in this house. It's very strange.
I used to think our house that we grew up in was haunted, the one that we couldn't fortify against zombies. Because I would
Right.
often hear like doors opening, people talking,
I haven't heard people
what's
talking yet.
happening. And I just pulled the covers over. But it was the 70s, so who knows? It could be just my parents' friends were walking in to see what they were up to. Because we didn't lock the door and every door was wide open. I don't know, maybe it was homeless people. But I distinctly remember being in bed, waking up to hear the front door open, people talking, people moving around, and then people leaving. And then an hour later, my parents came home.
Yeah.
What? Like, you were a small fry. I think I was.
That-
in high school.
Yes.
Or maybe I was
Okay.
younger. No, I was younger than
That
high
that could be anything. That could.
school. I'm sure I was.
Maybe they were replaced
I
with
know.
clones. It was the 70s. A lot of weird shit was going on. Yeah.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Was one of the body snatchers.
Donald Sutherland. Brilliant.
Oh, that is always a great story. The idea of the people you know and love secretly being
It's prob-
replaced. Except over in those movies, they were always a radical difference. It wasn't like they had the same personality. You know, that's not a giveaway at all.
Right.
Almost act like the. I can't remember what the film was back in the day, like the Village of the Damned or whatever it was, with the creepy kids. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
All
like
the
those.
blonde-haired
I love
girls, and they're all.
those.
That was a good film. Almost on that
Yeah,
same level.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
There was a remake. There was a remake in the '90s with Mark Hamill and Christopher
Oh.
Reeve of all people.
Oh Lord, yeah, I'm sure I've seen that.
Yeah, do not.
Mark Hamill.
If you haven't.
Done that. Oh.
I'm not sure the
No.
audience isn't large when we did that, frankly.
Was that before or after Corvette Summer?
Ooh. I don't even
know what that is. So
that was one of his movies after Star Wars. I think that's some 70s jam. I
one of
didn't see
those.
it.
no, they got to pay the bills too.
There was a lot of films around there that were like that. There was like these smash hit films, and then there were some that were really rubbish, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And
Yeah.
there's just, I've been waiting.
Ooh, that is one of
I've been
our
waiting to
favorite
catch someone with that for ages because it's a fantastic film, and I know that most people. I'm joking. It's an amazing
Oh,
film. No.
Okay, I was like, those
No, it's
are
amazing.
close. I'm like, blasphemy,
I've just been waiting to catch
blasphemy.
somebody with that one, and you have to always get one out every episode at least. It was going to be that, or like The Wedding Singers, which was probably. I was waiting for someone to say that. Maybe you, Kevin. Go, whoa, no, that's blasphemy. That was a.
I do like
Cute.
Wedding Singer.
I do too. It's
The Princess Bride.
It's cute.
Well, there's definitely different like periods of Adam Sandler. You know what I mean? Late
Oh, yeah.
model.
Oh.
There's a great a couple years ago, Adam Sandler came out with that movie Jack and Jill, where he plays his sister as well. And if you go on YouTube, somebody like spliced together scene like the trailer for Jack and Jill with George C. Scott from Hardcore, where he's sitting in the theater going, "No, no!" It is hilarious.
That's genius.
Check that out.
Yeah. I have a love-hate Adam Sandler relationship. Mostly hate. But I do
lately.
like The Wedding Singer, Happy
Uncut
Gilmore,
Gems.
Yeah.
Uncut Gems.
Amazing.
The rest you can throw in
Zohan
the
was pretty
bin.
good.
Oh my God. Uncut Gems gave me a knot in my stomach for the entire thing. It was like bang.
I mean,
bang,
Click as
bang,
well. Click's really good.
unrelenting.
That's quite an emotional film.
Oh.
Did you know? That's a good
I didn't
film.
even see it. No, I was already sour by it. After
I was too.
Oh, that's blasphemy. Bastard, now you've caught me on it. Son of a bitch. God damn it, that's an amazing film.
Little
See, it works
Nicky.
both ways. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We're playing with fast and loose with amazing. I don't know.
I mean, it's a great film. It's extremely funny.
He's great because he's like, I'm going to go on vacation with my buddies, and hey, maybe we'll shoot a movie.
The only thing I don't like is he uses the same cast all the time, which kind of gets a bit repetitive, and all the background characters are just the same essentially. You know what I mean? Which is a bit of a shame. But
Yeah.
Uncut Gems was good. It was about the only one lately that really has smashed it out of the park.
100%. He really took
That
it.
was definitely risky.
Fantastic.
He did. I think he had a contract with Netflix for 4 films or something. I don't think it was just that Uncut Gems. I think there was a couple of other films.
Oh, yeah.
But they couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't have been amazing because I
Those are
can't
good
remember
ones.
them. So I knew they were.
Well, it's
He's
like,
like, I'll act in this one, and then I'll do
Yeah.
some throwaways for the rest of my contract.
well, people who love him,
Mm.
it's like he knows exactly what to give them. You know what I mean? So if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, his movies typically, like the audience scores are always like 95 or whatever. Because
sweet baby Jesus. Is this
Because
like
those
the
people know what
Medea
they're getting.
movies?
IMDb and Google. Yeah.
the DM movies.
That'll probably give it to about a 3.7 or something, depending on the film. I can't remember what I've seen.
Right.
Well, I mean, I can relate to that because anything Wes Anderson does, I'm going to see. I don't care what the reviews
I mean,
are.
I was looking the other day at a film, and I can't remember what it is now. I wish I'd be able to remember. And it was a really, really shit film, but its reviews were fantastic. And I was like, who's doing this? Is this trolls? Who's actually putting all these reviews and sending me to watch this bullshit? Who's doing this? Like, I can't remember. That's the thing. I'll try and remember, and I'll post it on the write-up.
Oh.
But I can't think for the life of me. Someone recommended it to me as well, and I was like, oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, what does that say about that person? Because
Right.
the anonymous people, yeah, oh, who cares? But you're
Yeah.
like, what are you thinking your friendship? Like, what? We're friends how? This person does not clearly know me at all.
You got to end that friendship, I think, is the moral of the story.
It could have been a guest. That might be the problem. So I don't know. Yeah. Well,
Throw
that's
them
what
under the
podcasting
bus.
is, isn't it? Chucking each other under the bus. Seems to be. Yeah.
That's right. That's the motto I live. Kevin's the straight man.
Yeah.
I like it, like I said, when the movies are trying to be serious, but they're funny. Did anyone ever see this movie? It was about, like, it's supposed to be a takeoff on these Japanese things. And I think Tara Reid was in it, now that I think about it. But
Right.
maybe not. But it was about the suicide forest. That she's going to go to Japan because her sister went to the suicide
quite
forest
recent,
and
isn't it?
disappeared.
No.
I haven't seen it.
So I went on a Friday, which is when you opening Friday. So of course it's filled with teenagers because that's when all the teenagers go see these horror movies. And the movie was so ridiculous that it became the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where people now are just shouting out funny comments. And it was so much better. I'm not sure if I could watch it now and enjoy it, but because everybody by the end was just shouting things out at the screen, it was hysterical. I think we maybe need to put that on the list if I can
I think it
figure
came
out
out
what the
several
hell
years
the
ago,
name of
didn't
that
it? I don't
movie
know,
was.
but I know what you mean. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
watched
yeah.
it, but that amazes me that made it into cinemas. There's been loads of films that have been amazing, and then it's not got no cinema deal at all. But that piece of shit did. Who greenlighted that project?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like all the M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, that was terrible.
Remember that?
The others was pretty good.
It was so terrible.
What's hilarious about M. Night Shyamalan is you could tell early on they're like, from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan. By the end, they're like, don't ask you directly. We don't want you to know. Poor M. Night.
I was so angry with the happening because literally 10 minutes ago, like, it's nature's attacking.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Now,
the movie's called
Village.
The Forest.
Yep.
The Forest is the name of
the
Forest.
Japanese one. What an original title that is. The Forest.
Yeah.
It's,
very creative.
Aye. Speaking of M. Night, he's got another movie coming out.
well, he's got
Was
the
it?
last
What's it
one was
I don't remember.
the comic trilogy that he did. You know, the Unbreakable and Glass and Split. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I didn't-
yes. Glass was the
No.
last one he did.
I didn't
Yeah.
see that. Again, burned. Just like
I guess it had got good reviews, didn't it?
Split.
That and the one right before that. What was that called? Split. Split seemed to get
No.
good reviews as well.
I didn't like Split that much, but
I liked
everyone I know
his
thought it was the
acting.
greatest
His acting
thing.
was yeah, James McAvoy. Yeah.
Oh, he's
Exactly.
excellent. James
Uh,
McAvoy. Excellent.
Oh yeah.
But when it come to watching Unbreakable, Glass, sorry, it didn't really have the same effect. You know, it was a bit.
Right.
But I didn't know he was
It's
making
very
another
dry.
new film. But that could be interesting.
Well, it's the problem with M. Night is like he's kind of, I don't know why I'm just calling him M. Night now. He like we're
We
buddies.
just call
We
him
go
M.
way back. M, exactly.
M.
It's like he's got this formula that he's kind of gotten stuck in, where it's like there's always some twist at the end. So now you're just constantly watching the movie looking for the twist, you know, and that kind of spoils it. I remember
That was
watching The Village, and the idea of it seemed kind of cool, where you're like, ooh, it's kind of Pilgrim era, you know, there's monsters in the woods. What is kind of an interesting concept. And then when they reveal what the twist is, you're kind of like, oh, well, that kind of ruins the whole movie for me.
And again, halfway through, I'm like, oh no. this is modern
You
times.
figured it out.
And
Right.
then you're like sour for the next hour that you're sitting there and
Right.
it all unfolds.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
because-
are no monsters.
because
That was just a trick.
Yeah, it was all a bunch of bullshit because The Sixth Sense was bang.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
then the Nicole Kidman was pretty good. And then it was a steady boop, drop.
I don't think.
What's the Nicole Kidman? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
the
that's.
one where
The Others?
No,
the others.
I mentioned.
That's
I
not M. Night
mentioned that.
Shyamalan.
I mentioned it a
your
minute
mouth.
ago and then realised
It's
it
not-
wasn't
although
an
it
M.
is
Night
good.
film. I thought it was. Yeah.
It
Oh.
seems like it would be because there's that twist, but The Others is great.
I quite like
I like
how.
The Others.
Very
When you-
creepy.
Oh my God. I can't believe that's not M. Night Shyamalan because it has his stupid formula. That's what he needs to do is get rid of his freaking formula.
Right.
You just wait. Okay, what's the twist? What's the twist?
Right.
The new M. Night Shyamalan will be released in July. It is called Old, and it's
Yes.
adapted
Oh, okay.
from the
I'll have to
graphic
look into
novel Sandcastle.
Right. They're on the beach. Yeah, I saw those ads for it. They're on the beach, and they're like, "Whoa, we're getting older. What's going on?" So, what's the twist? They're getting
Benjamin
younger?
Button.
They were
Yeah,
young all
yeah.
the time. I don't know.
Benjamin Button.
It's Benjamin Buttons.
Right. That's
Brad Pitt's got a cameo.
That's the twist. You don't need to see it.
He'll show up
Yeah,
at the
we
end.
figured it out.
The way in which fucking Bruce Willis did at the end of Split, you know? We're walking in the back. Yeah.
We got to
It's
tie
a shame
that
the others
crap
wasn't an
together.
M. Night film,
They do.
because I thought it was as well, but they are very, used to be very cerebral. Like I said, the village, when it turns out it was all the villagers and not a bunch of monsters, it was still kind of good for its time, but you couldn't really play that out now, because
Right.
again, you just see it coming a mile off. But that sounds so stupid. They're just sitting on a beach and getting old, and maybe it'll be like the film Impossible. Have you seen that with a fucking tsunami? Maybe it'll be like that, and it's quite old. It's based on a true story when they had the big tsunami in where was it now? Was it Australia? Somewhere in Malaysia. That was it. Yeah, it was Malaysia. Yeah.
Was it Malaysia?
Maybe that's what this twist should be. Is just a big. There's two old guys sitting on a beach. Wave comes crashing in. Titles roll. That's it. End of movie. Nope. No closing
That's the end
titles.
of the movie,
Black
the big
screen,
closing titles?
and then they cut to credits, and then that's that. It's 10 minutes. It's
That's it.
Or it could be like one of these art house films where they're just rolling the camera. and
Two-
it's
2
hours
hours.
and just them sitting around on a beach. As we watch them age for 2 hours.
It's like Boyhood. It's Boyhood. They keep coming back to him every 10 years.
So while while we're still on the subject of films, there was a couple that was still on your list that I've not got into myself yet. The Shining. That's one that's definitely worth talking about, just because of all the mystery and the aura just surrounding Stanley Kubrick. And I'm a huge fan of Kubrick. So it'd be good to hear your takes about The Shining, because there's tons of theories about,
Oh yeah. Well, and
Yay.
Kevin and I are hardcore
Yeah, me too.
Stephen King fans.
Right.
So, and then they had all this conflict. So I always felt like I needed to side with King because
Right.
the Kubrick version of it is so kind of cold and removed, and you never feel the love of the father for his family. It's bang. It's Jack Nicholson. He's
That's
not a
why.
fuzzy teddy bear. You
Right.
know, the minute you see Jack Nicholson, that this is all kinds of fucked up. That's just all bad. But I mean, in the original, it's basically Stephen King. He's writing about himself and his alcoholism and
Right.
an incident that happened with his son. So when they had their big blowout, I was always like kind of disdained it. But now I go back and watch it, and I can't. If I remove all my Stephen King feelings and you just watch the movie, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
See, what's funny is I think it's better than the book.
I've-
Boom!
Shut
I think,
up.
again, I've read the
Shut
book,
your mouth. Now
the
we got something to
miniseries as
talk
well, which was, that's
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see the miniseries.
That was supposed to be the real vision with Stephen Weber and Rebecca De Mornay.
Except for Steven Weber and Rebecca De Mornay. Steven Weber,
can take him. That's hilarious.
Jack Nicholson
There's
is
some really good.
unstable,
There's some really good footage of
you know
him
what
as
I
well.
mean?
On a good day. On
Yeah.
a good day.
I'll say there's some good footage behind the making of some of his stuff, and you can see him getting
That's
ready
hilarious.
for scenes, like manic running up and down in the fucking room with an axe in his hand, just charging, and you know that's getting ready for scenes, and there's getting ready for scenes, you know, pissing around. Like, yeah.
Well, Shelley Duvall suffered from like physical anxiety. Like her hair was falling out.
She got
Kubrick was
overworked.
rough on her. To say the
50
least.
odd
She was
takes.
Nicholson
I
was
think
like,
there was more than that at some points as well.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. No question.
Oh yeah, I mean you can talk about Kubrick and whether he's a good guy for forever, and what price art, because Shelley Duvall has mental issues, and so her vulnerability is immediate. You can see it no matter what she's doing. So to kind of take advantage of that to get what you want,
It's definitely
that's kind of dark.
Right.
But she did a great job, man. Woo!
It is dynamite. That
Absolutely.
movie is so good. I mean, it's got to be top 5.
even
all
the way the
time.
sets were
The horror
designed,
movie.
the
I mean,
intricate
it is
details
great.
between everything. None of the sets made sense either. Obviously, when the shots were riding around, and 1 minute you're on the bottom floor, and then you're on the top, and then there's like windows in the middle of the building. Like, it's crazy. There's so many weird twists and plot.
Well, and that's the question. Is that done intentionally to kind of put you off balance as a viewer? You know what I mean? Question.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to know? What's up with the dude in the bear suit? That's the big question. You know what I mean? What the hell's happening?
In the book, you talk about that's the book. It's the decadence of the previous age. A lot of the stuff that doesn't make sense is explained in the book.
Interesting, because it is very much like, how much of this is it's haunted? How much of it is The Shining? How much of it is he's nuts?
What do you think about Dr. Sleep?
We don't know. We don't know what the combinations are. I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to go see it. Did you see it? Was it good?
I liked it. I thought it was good. And I had stopped reading Stephen King after, Christine, like, you son of a bitch, I'm not giving you another $40 for a hardback. If you go for The Stand, Christine, I'm not using my babysitting money to make you any richer. So
yeah,
exactly. I was like, screw you. And so Dr. Sleep was
the book is fantastic. The book is amazing. But even the film actually does the book a bit of justice. It's compared to, say The Shining, where they're completely poles apart. They're pretty much the same between Dr. Sleep, the book, the novel, and the film. Do you know what I mean? I'd highly recommend them.
Yeah. It's on HBO, Kevin.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was HBO or Prime, but it's streaming right now.
That'd have been super awesome.
That'd
have been cool to see. The last film I've seen at the cinemas was Prisoners, with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah. That was that Jake? If you want to put a year to that, that was the last time I went to the cinema. No, that's
that's not pandemic related. That's just personal choice.
Yeah, that might have been COVID related if I had severe mental illnesses and was a prophet, but I don't think that's the case.
I love going to the movies.
It's the best.
I mean, Kevin's already going back. I haven't gone yet, but I used to go with my friends.
Well, in fact, I might have gone a bit later than that. They also did a 30th, it might have been a 30th anniversary of Gremlins, and they released that in a cinema. So that was kind of really cool.
Good.
Absolutely blasted that night because it was at a place called the Electric Cinema, and they serve alcohol and they serve absinthe, which is woo. Yeah, they serve Lafite.
Nice.
Yeah, Lafite.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that.
Like real absinthe?
It was halfway through the film, I was like, and I can drink, I can put it away, but halfway through the film, I was like, am I going to make it through this film? It was really, and I had to persevere. I was like, I'm going to have to get another glass of this and just whack it down. Absolutely mangled. Great experience, good time. I can't wait to the release of. Oh, it's
I love Gremlins. Gremlins is hilarious because it's ostensibly like a kids movie,
amazing.
but there's like Gremlins going in the blender, Gremlins going in the microwave. There's a long anecdote where
Chimney and
talks about why she hates Christmas because her dad went down the chimney when she was a kid and got stuck in there and died. And that's why she hates Christmas.
I know.
Good times. Yeah, her father, they didn't discover his body till after the new year or so. It's like, this is for kids.
We had a local case here where this lady had broken up with her boyfriend. She's an attorney and was a little off and was desperate to get inside the house to talk to him. And she shimmied down the chimney, except he wasn't home.
Ooh,
So no one found her for like a month.
How big are these chimneys, by the way?
I guess enough to get stuck in, man, but I'm not doing that. I remember being a kid, put my
children.
hand in the
There's the reason they used to send children up back in the
like,
Victorian days was because they were small enough to scurry up there, and they even then they'd still get stuck. That's why chimney sweeps were young boys covered in soot.
Yeah.
Oh God.
They
don't talk about that.
Yeah, no.
They don't talk about that. Right.
But the problem is, what happens as well is some people go down there and then it's sealed up on the other side. So they've just hit a blank wall, and then there's a thin slot that you can't climb up. You're not going to wedge your back and your knees. Do you know if you can sort of, yeah.
Shimmy.
Yeah, because your hands are either up or you're down, and then what happens is you get
claustrophobia sets in, and then you
done.
Boom.
Don't want to do it. Oh, I'm like, be a lesson, children. On the chimney. Public service announcement.
There's this movie I saw
Cave-in.
several years ago called The Descent, and it's about like spelunking or cave diving or whatever.
No.
And there's a scene where the girl is like trying to shimmy through this thing, and I'm just like, immediately I put myself in there and I'm like, oh, I'm screwed because I'm a big guy.
Done.
So you get stuck in there. You're like, you're in a cave. What are they going to do? There's no jaws of life for that.
Well,
exactly.
What people have said is I love rock climbing, so I'm super into like cave-in. I've never really done it properly in another country. Done a little bit, but the weird thing is, obviously, you get disorientated because you don't know what's up and down. Because when you're in there, there's no sense of going. You're just squeezing through gaps, and you don't quite know which way is up and down. And that's where people tend to get fucked up as well, because you just lose all sense of direction. But I watch a lot of urban exploring videos, and there was a group that went. There's a cave system in America, and I can't remember what it's called again now. And there was a guy that regularly goes down there, and when you see some of the gaps he's trying to fit through, you're like, dude, how'd you get through there? It's almost seems impossible. There's like little 8-inch, foot high slots, and he's just sliding his way through. Super.
How do you even get your head through that? Oh dear God.
127 hours. Yeah, James Franco. That would have been a really tragic story if it ever happened to you. Like if you was forced to be in that situation.
Yes, it would. I tend to agree.
Yeah.
Much more tragic if it happened to me, I'd say.
If it happened to me, it's because someone threw me down there, because I would not be there willingly. So just know, if I disappear, they find me like a crack in a glacier and a
glacier.
You need to alert the police.
They're super dangerous.
Glacier.
Oh my God! I think I must have seen something on TV, because I totally have this fear when I'm like on ice. Like I went out to the Alps and I was just near the glacier, I wasn't on the glacier. I could
Crevasse,
see the
yeah.
glacier, and all I kept thinking about
My,
was falling into a crevasse.
My dad does a lot of ice climbing and stuff. It's why I climb. And years
That's
ago,
gonna be
he did like a little expedition to Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. I think it might have happened there, might have happened somewhere else. But he fell like 200 foot down a crevasse. And one of his friends obviously whacked his crampons into the wall and shit. And it was one of them moments where, well, the guy fell down past my dad, and then he just had to hold in. And it was like, when you hear stories like that, you're like, ooh. But it was a ridiculous amount of foot, you know, and you get scary shit. So,
Oh.
yeah. Yep.
And he probably went out and did it again after that. It's got to be about the adrenaline.
It's so weird what people put themselves through just for adrenaline. You know, did you see the latest thing, David Blaine, where he got the balloons and he went up to, you know, essentially space with a bunch of massive circular balloons?
David
Block of ice, yeah.
He's like that. Didn't he like lock himself in like a block of ice or something?
Guy's a lunatic.
Right.
Very. It's just body control, though, isn't it? Really, that's all it is. It's just manipulating your body. Well, I don't think that was an illusion because he went up to there on the balloons.
An illusion.
No.
What do they say? It's
He's
like
got
kind
a
of
brother.
He's got
a twin brother.
Or he puts his twin brother.
That was a great ending.
You go in there.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
No, that had a
There's
twist that you didn't know was coming.
Illusionist as
That's
well.
Nolan, Christopher Nolan.
But I think it's based.
Illusionist. Why does Hollywood do that? Where it's like, we're gonna release 2 movies of like the same topic at the exact same time. It's like you got Armageddon and Deep Impact, you got Fire and Tombstone, Volcano and Dante's Peak. I can go on and on. It's ridiculous.
I have something to think about. The Prestige and the Star Trek transporter. So Kevin and I have had this discussion that there's a theory that in Star Trek, when you're transported, you die and it is a clone. So that's
and you'd never know.
Maybe. I think it was based on a book. I think it was based on a book.
I don't think so. By Gene Roddenberry. No, but that freaks you out about the Prestige because you do think about that. It's because it's like, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. It's Nikolai Tesla has a machine, but it's not a teleportation device. It's a duplicating machine.
Yeah,
essentially. So Hugh Jackman uses this to kind of create his illusion of I walk through this door and walk out the other door over here.
Tank.
But every time he does it, a body drops into a tank of water and drowns. And every time he says, I don't know if I'm the one dropping into the tank or if I'm the one walking out the door.
But I'm so thirsty for fame.
Yes, I'm willing to risk it over and over and over again.
Over and over and over.
New film about Nikola Tesla that just come out.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. It was. I think it was just literally called Tesla or something like that. It was.
What was it called?
It might have just been called. No, it might have just been called Nicola. Or
that makes sense.
Nikolai.
But it won't be David Bowie.
Maybe.
Did it deal with the?
I think it was just. Yeah, it was just called Tesla.
Was that the second act?
It's. It was. What's. To be honest, Ethan Hawke's in it. That's about the only famous person.
Sorry, Elon Musk. Ethan Hawke is the hardest working man in show business. He is like, I mean, you
really
think like I haven't seen him in anything, but then you look at IMDb. Oh, he's been in 40 things this last year. He keeps pumping them absolutely.
Was that something? Not the right?
Or he was a priest. Right? I know. I clearly.
There's a couple, isn't there? That's with the one with Anthony Hopkins. The right. isn't it?
That's for the right
but there is
film,
there's
isn't
one
it?
with, there
No,
is one where he
it's-
plays a priest as well, though, isn't there? And he's dealing with
Oh, right, that is a different
demons
movie.
and like. Oh, okay. Oh, I might be getting my
Abuse or
wires crossed.
something. No, this was like a drama. This wasn't a horror movie. This was, there was a movie I was just looking up called The Unholy, where it's like a priest is dealing with. It's like Ben Cross back in like the late '80s. He's a priest in New Orleans dealing with a succubus and I don't know. I haven't seen it.
All kinds of bad in New Orleans. I'd love to
Voodoo
go to
and-
New Orleans.
Right.
New
Absolutely.
Orleans
Yeah.
is straight up haunted, left angel
The Beyond's
heart.
another fantastic.
It's
The Beyond?
called Voodoo and the Beyond.
Slightly. Yep.
Is that Argento?
Italian horror.
That's Lucio Fulci.
Oh, Fulci! Oh, Jesus
You can't
Christ.
beat that. We love it. We love it. That the late '70s, early '80s,
No.
where it's totally bonkers because they don't care about plot at all. They don't. They'll tell you it's not about the plot. It's about like kind of the visuals and the color palette and the performance. It's all this other stuff. Neither like I had heard of The Beyond by Lucio Fulci. Aaron, I don't think you'd even heard of it.
No, after Zombie, again,
Yes.
traumatized.
Yes.
I saw it
Yes.
as drive-in.
How do they show
There's no
those movies in a
certification for
drive-in?
them, though,
That's
either.
right, where it's like,
There was
In the 70s, they used
pre-cert.
to show porn at drive-in.
Literally.
ah,
There's ton.
Yeah,
He did
no.
quite a lot, didn't
Unrated.
he?
Unrated.
anything
There was
goes.
several really famous Italian horror directors. That was one of them. There was another one as well. Nope.
Dario Argento.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
Lamberto Bava.
Yeah, he did.
There you go. Demons. Demons was the one he did in the '80s, where they're in like East German movie theater, and the moment they're in, all the exits are like sealed, like with brick.
Oh, I'm
So
already getting
trapped.
the chills. Why didn't I
And
watch this? I'm getting the chills.
we gotta check it out.
already.
And somebody gets scratched on something and they slowly become like a demon creature. And it's kind of like a zombie thing where it's like if they attack you, then you also become
it's
a
a
zombie
really good
or
one.
a demon. So but
Another-
now you're trapped in this theater.
Another
stuff.
classic around there is obviously The Burning.
Yeah.
Put that on the list, brother.
Slasher, yeah. Is
The
it?
bird, yes. It's kind of a slasher movie. I think that's a Weinstein
That was
movie,
his first
isn't it?
film.
Aye,
really?
aye.
Harvey Weinstein was like his first.
Ooh, this might be worth a Google. That might
Yeah,
that might explain
it was one of his
everything
first,
right now. Yeah, the circle fully closed. It's just right there. We learned it.
You can trace it all back to this moment in time.
Yep.
In the New York area, there is like this folklore of this murderer called Cropsey. Okay, and so like if you went to camp in like upstate New York, sitting around the campfire, they would tell about this guy Cropsey. So about that time, early '80s, they actually released 2 movies
Yep.
based upon this folklore. One was called The Burning, the other one was called Madman. There you go.
And there's a
The,
documentary
You're welcome.
on,
By Harvey
on,
Weinstein and 2 other
Netflix
guys.
called Cropsey.
Wow. That's. Yeah, me.
There you go. Yeah, me too.
Me too. Harvey Weinstein is Cropsey.
But there was that
There you
one,
go.
and then there was Cannibal
He is
Holocaust.
Cropsey.
Mystery solved.
Yeah, had a multitude of myths
yes,
surrounding it.
that's,
Obviously,
oh,
he made them sign release forms to go missing for a couple of months. So and then they all had to get dragged into court, and that was
Oh, it's beautiful.
it was the fact that it was also one of the first
Go ahead.
films to really get banned.
All the time.
It got banned in the UK. Yep, was a video nasty. Obviously, it was classed as a snuff film,
Video
essentially.
nasties in the
There was
UK.
also depictions of real animal cruelty, which was fucked up. We had to cut out about 26 minutes or some ridiculous
Right?
Yes.
number like that as well. There's some uncut version that's never been seen. Yep,
Really?
for murder.
The
Physical
director
murder.
was arrested. Wasn't he arrested?
Yes, he was put on trial for murder in Italian courts. Yes. He literally thought, like you said, it was a snuff film. They thought all the actors were murdered, and he had to go and say, "Okay."
I think it was a year as well, wasn't it? Like a year sort of contract for him to just go into hiding. It's a very clever. It was a clever ploy because it sealed its fate.
It was a huge thing,
to be quite honest. It was probably one of the most graphic films. And
well, this was a first. No question.
Yeah.
This was one of the first, or the first found footage movie as well. This was Blair Witch 30 years before Blair Witch.
Right.
Yeah, not 30 years, 20 years. But yeah, I mean, the thing about it is it's like, if you got rid of the animal cruelty, you would still have it. I mean, it's so unnecessary. It's like, it does nothing. And that's literally the most disturbing part of the movie. Because the rest of the stuff is pretty standard, you know. If you watch Dawn of the Dead, you've seen worse.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the animal
turtle, yeah. That was a real turtle as well. It was a real turtle.
Like a leatherback turtle or something.
It's bonkers to say that.
It was a real turtle for like 10 minutes we're watching. And it's like, what is happening? Yes. Well, and there was some kind of like a road.
Well, they just tried. Obviously, they could still do mild bits of animal cruelty, but obviously,
so unnecessary.
You know, have you heard of the film? Sorry, have you heard the film? There was a remake of it, but
they got him for that.
Japanese
they did get him for that.
About a dog and a cat, and basically, it was this dog like fucked this cat up, like fucked it up. Like tore it to shreds, and they basically went through like tons and tons of cats and dogs during the filming of this film, and then they remade it because the original was Japanese, but they went through something like 300 like animals or some crazy number. I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah.
No, I've never heard of this. And they remade it. Good Lord.
There's what? Yeah,
no, I've never even heard of it.
It's called The Adventures of Milo and Otis.
I love dogs.
Made in 1986, and it was about an orange tabby cat and a pug. It was No, no
one was murdered. Are you kidding me?
The Japanese version.
Dudley Moore narrated.
You'll be surprised. Yep, they did make it as a Disney one. But if you look up the Japanese version, yep. I don't.
Did Dudley Moore narrate the Japanese?
I mean, it's a pretty.
It was the Japanese.
They removed 15 minutes from the original film. Oh, they made a video game adaptation apparently. Yep, there's like 20 kittens.
I can watch it.
They got killed on the set. There's tons and tons
with a different eye.
Oh yeah, not yeah. Oh no.
Okay, you're talking about.
Oh no! Oh God, no.
Okay, I think you're talking about an animal.
No.
I thought it was an animal stuff film. I was like, is this
some of those were super fake on that Faces of Death, though.
I'm like, hell no, I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
Faces of Death was always
most
a
of it
VHS copy of a copy
I think
of a copy. It's not like you could
the only one on there that might have been real was the electrocution.
Where's the Faces of Death section? Right.
Some of them were.
There were
basically
fake dramatizations and occasional like
as well.
auto accidents. Is basically what there's a lot of like that kind of like real auto accidents.
Oh yeah, no, that fakery in that restaurant. No, not that one. I was on about the dude who got ate by a tiger, not a tiger, a fucking crocodile or whatever it was. Drags him down and starts. Yeah.
Right. Allegedly, somebody parachuted accidentally into like a crocodile pit.
And they
which
just
there
have
are
to have
many.
camera rolling.
Yes. This is what we do.
But no, I should just clarify that there is no animal snuff film out there that I know of. Yeah. Have you,
Thank goodness for that.
on the video nasty front, have you ever seen Cannibal Flesh Zombies?
We just don't want to know about it, right?
Because that's another one that's a bit similar to. It was almost released about the same sort of time and sort of got a bit of notoriety in the way in which Cannibal Holocaust did, but it gets confused over quite a lot. That's worth a watch.
Okay. There's a bunch of movies like that about that time. They would just throw like cannibals and zombies. There's movies where it's like cannibals and zombies. There's movies where it's like John Saxon.
Look at that. Mind blown.
They don't eat each other. They only eat us. See, there you go. There you go. There was a movie called Cannibal Apocalypse with John Saxon, and where he like comes back from Nam, but he got scratched by somebody in the bush, and comes back, and now he's got like kind of feel.
I think I know what you mean.
So it's like, yeah,
there's tons.
I haven't seen it, but so I can't talk about its quality. Yeah, but there were a bunch of movies about this time.
Oh,
yeah. Eli Roth just made one called Green Inferno, where he goes back to that thing where it's like, again, it's like college kids go into the Amazon, stumble upon a
well, you'd expect bad things to occur if you're around cannibals.
So.
Yeah.
What's interesting about these movies, even back then, is it's usually the cannibals are totally chill until the white guys come and start causing ruckus. And then they kind of like, well, if you're going to come to my house, start acting this way, then I'm going to eat you.
Another one that was on your list, American Psycho.
But now I'm going to eat you.
American Psycho. It's another one of those all-time favorites.
Oh, I love American
Somewhat corny
Psycho.
and cheesy at times, but amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. We were talking about it because it's
Do you like Phil
really,
Collins?
when it's funny,
It's the best line in it. Do you like Phil Collins?
Really, but when it's dark, it gets dark.
Yeah, it's the studio. It's brilliant. I really think I used to know the line as well. I used to think it's something like that. They really came into their own after it. Yeah,
Love it. From his album. Yeah. No jacket required.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love, and the book just has that dialogue through the entire book.
The book's
Except
crazy.
For the really
People get
parts. So the book is like
Book's
the movie,
worse, right?
but the book is so extreme. I kept saying I'm not gonna finish this. I was listening to it on audio, and I was like, I can't. I would start to dread.
Yeah, those
listening
rapt
to
moments.
Read by the author, and it was so disturbing. But I was like, I just want to see how it ends. But
Yeah.
I just started fast forward after the rats. I started fast forwarding through the torture just to get through the end.
Christian Bale.
I could make kind of a wacky movie with Christian Bale.
I can't even remember who directed it or if he did anything else, to be quite honest. Oh, really? It was? That's very interesting.
No, it's a chick.
Maybe that's probably...
Chick.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't
That's even more
remember.
interesting. I thought it was
written
by a
and
guy.
directed by women. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
The
Oh.
book was written by Bret Easton Ellis, but the movie.
Yeah.
But the movie, he didn't write the screenplay. But they took, like Erin says, whole passages of dialogue from the book.
Oh yeah, all the music and all that, just that where he literally will describe everyone.
Yeah. Well, even then, when he's talking about all their suits and the articles of clothing and stuff like, extremely descriptive. It's almost like a self-confession novel in itself. And yeah.
Well, it's about him.
It is. He admitted that the book was about himself, right? He thought it was about his father when he was writing it, but he realized in retrospect, oh no, I was describing myself the whole time.
And
okay.
The director, she also did I Shot Andy Warhol and the Notorious.
That's so
Eddie
crazy
King.
because I mean it's such a cult classic film,
So artsy.
but
Artsy.
there's probably very little you know, what's the word?
It is.
Shit. Forgot the word now. No one's exactly screaming, you know, there's tons and tons of male directors out there, but no one's apart from, you know, the Wachowskis, no one's really screaming about, you know, but that's a fucking great movie. I think there needs to be several tweets after this show, and we need to get the train rolling for get that woman some fucking goddamn credit. That must have been so tricky.
American Psycho?
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, that was a woman though.
No question.
Yeah.
American Psycho 2?
There was an American Psycho 2 with Mila Kunis. Before she was famous. Before I'm trying to think. Am I maybe I'm hallucinating this.
I didn't know she was on that
Before,
70s show.
That 70s show. She was on American Psycho 2, Mila Kunis.
No. That 70s show, directed by.
After that,
Not written by Bret Easton Ellis.
Now starring modern day adaptation. That's such a.
Right.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen that.
Well, we just watched a new British film. Did you see St. Maud?
Problem is, I mean, it takes a lot for me to watch a new film,
It was really good.
especially English films, because there's very few that are good. But when we do make a good English horror film, they are fantastic. Dead Man Shoes. Have you ever heard of that? It's basically about a guy who goes off.
No.
Well, he's in like
No.
the army, and he's got a brother who's got disabilities, and there's like a group of youths that take the piss and kind of accidentally kill his brother. And then obviously he comes back, plot twist, he comes back from like the army and he's going around seeking revenge on them, and he just fucks them up in crazy ways. But obviously his like brother's always sort of like a ghost by his side, and he's sort of there all the time, and he sees his brother, and it's fucked up, man. It's a crazy good film. It's got a lot of good reviews. Dead Man's Shoes. Ooh, quite a while ago. It's got to be about 15 years old, maybe. It's quite
Really?
old.
When did it come out?
Yeah. It's I think again it's one of those sort of Channel 4 movies. It was one of those, so
Who's
I
in
don't
it?
think it was
Anybody?
anybody that was worth mentioning. But there was quite a few of them around that time that was so good.
Okay.
Well, the beauty of the internet now is we're just not locked into American films or whatever's at the video.
Yeah, it's like 2004, so it's super. Yeah, it's quite old. No one really famous in it. I mean, they probably are, but I'm not going to shout their names out because I don't know a single fucking one of them. So, sorry, people. It was directed by Shane Meadows.
We do
though.
that sometimes.
Obviously,
We're
he does
just
quite a
like,
lot of English stuff.
don't recognize
I think he did like
anything.
This Is England and stuff like that.
You know,
Shane
I'm
Meadows.
Sure
Most of these are going over your head now, aren't they? I thought you was meant to be the film reviewing podcast. Yeah.
Well,
What's the most English
do have
film you've
two
seen?
British brother-in-laws. You think they would have exposed us to more?
Right.
I know that's a very obscure question.
Most English film we've seen. Oh my god. Any ideas? That's a hard question.
Michael Caine.
I'm still looking up Shane.
What a guy. He's a legend, isn't
Anything
he?
with Michael Caine. We did Dress to Kill with Michael Caine.
Played the best Alfred as well
He's
from
great.
Batman.
I love Michael Caine. He's great. He's a legend. He is so great. Oh, what's funny about Oh, that's right. Some people just want to watch the world burn. That's my Michael Caine. Thank you. That's as good as it gets. If you like horrible impressions, then our podcast is the show for you. Let me tell you. Dressed
And
to Kill is
by
great.
R, you mean you.
That is true. Me. What's funny about Dressed to Kill, it stars Michael Caine, but I guess they originally wanted it to be Sean Connery, which would have been a crazy different choice. Good Lord.
Well, first of all, Michael Caine is not passing for a woman, no matter what you do with it. He would be one of those super bad drag queens.
Well, that's what he was, basically. Sean Connery would have been even.
This is just in my head. Isn't there a film with three guys where they're all go on some sort of thing and they're all cross-dressing?
I do too.
I can't remember what it is. Yeah, it might be. Isn't it like Wesley Snipes in it or something like that?
Oh, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Oh, you're talking about Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar is the one with Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo.
That was the American ripoff.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
Was it really? Was it meant to be? I didn't realize that. It might be. It might be.
He's a strange cat.
You had Terrence Stamp. You had Guy Pearce and Hugo Weaving. So it's a different group. Yes. Not an attractive drag queen, I have to tell you.
Terrence Stamp?
Terrence Stamp looked like Marilyn Monroe next to Hugo Weaving. Good grief. And I like Hugo Weaving. No sense.
Like the first Superman. He must be 2,000 years old.
At least.
I thought Ethan Hawke was.
Oh, wow.
It seems to be a running challenge for this.
He's the hardest working man in the show.
It's like they're...
they take turns.
Right, exactly. They're up for the same roles.
There's a conspiracy, isn't there? That James Franco's got multiple clones. It's almost like that. Because he was doing a million things at once. Well, obviously he was doing like 2 universities at the same time and then making multiple films, and it was like, how the fuck are you doing this?
Poor James Franco. I believe it. Good old Franco.
I feel like we have completely missed British horror. We're watching the Japanese, we're watching the Italian, and of course the majority is American.
Okay.
What else besides Dead Man's Shoes should we have been watching?
English horror.
That's a good question.
What was that called? There was one where there's like a group of kids and they go to this like Welsh village, and it's really bizarre because they're just like murderers and a bit of a cult. I can't quite remember the name of that as well. They've got like they're all walking around with like animal masks and shit on, a bit like the Wicker Man, you know, like the original one. It's a bit like that, but it's not the Wicker Man. Which is again that's a.
Yes.
Oh no, it's not that.
It sounds like the
again. This is why I need a co-host.
Wear the mask and they show up in a people's house. No.
It's
home invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of us could be jibber jabbering while the other one is googling stuff.
Well, I mean,
Creep was a good one as well.
With
not the one with the cameras, the one where they're in the
that's on
London
Netflix.
Underground, and there's no, it's like an early 2000s one, but there's two.
I do know.
Two
That's
lots
like
of
the
Creep
early
movies.
70s,
There's like a Creep at the minute that's on Netflix, where it's
there's
about
another
the guy.
Creep.
But then there's an English film called Creep, where there's a young woman and she gets lost in the has to stay in the subway, so in the London Underground overnight, and there's like a weird fucked up guy that's deformed chasing after her and stuff. Yeah, so.
Ooh. They're never. If there's a crazy guy chasing you around the underground, they're never good looking.
The Chud's amazing. Bud the Chud.
Bud
the Chud's even better. Yeah.
It's going to be the Chud. No question. Love Chud. But the sequel.
I
That's right. People forget
think-
it was a sequel to Chud.
think
So,
it's
it's
called.
that.
I love it. It's always trying to
We're
show
all
you the
trying to
goddamn
forget.
Wicker Man. That's the problem when you type it in. It's always going to try and. Yeah, the nickel.
Wicker Man, it's been remade 10,000 times. We watched Midsummer.
We watched the Nicolas Cage version. That's okay. I always say I go to the bat for Nick Cage's Wicker Man. It is hilarious. It is because it's like the first 45 minutes you're like, this is kind
Uncaged
of
Cage.
and then
Some of his roles are really good. He was in a film lately. I
Comes
can't remember what that is. My head's just
Cage, I
over.
would say.
I can't even remember what this was called. It wasn't called The Village. 'Cause it's just constantly trying to show me the same shit all the time, which is the obvious one. But it's a little bit more obscure. But
Yes.
okay,
You know what I saw a
With the
science
aliens.
fiction movie that came out, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, called Attack the Block. Are you familiar with that? Yeah, where aliens are attacking. Yeah, that was really good. And I think they're doing a sequel to that. It's got. It had a young.
he's quite a good actor. He's been in a few things lately.
Star Wars movies.
Oh, why can't I find it
as
now?
Finn.
It's always the case.
Yeah.
This is why, again, I need a co-host. So I can go, right, you need to get on this one.
No question.
I'm never going to find it. It's so terrible. I'm never going to find it. I will eventually. It's always the case of when you're not looking for it, it pops up. Like when you lose your wallet just before you leave the house, you know.
Of course. There are Oh no. Oh, there have been times where it's like we stop.
It's that one, an hour 10 for a 30-second snippet, like a small paragraph. Let's see if I've got any more notes. I think I've run through the several films that I wanted to mention.
Right. Erin, you're an Anglophile. What movies have we done that are British films? I'm trying to think.
Fuck, I don't know.
There's another one called, it might be called Mama and Papa or something like that. And it's about these two abusive parents that have locked their fucking kids up. That was another one, another Channel 4 film. Yeah, there was. It was called, that was another one. I think it was called Mama and Papa or something like that.
I'm writing this stuff down.
Yeah, they had
Write it
like
down.
a bunch of
Add it
girls
to
in the
our
house.
queue.
The dude who's the dad as well looks like a real piece of work, piece of shit pervert. So it's pretty it's very convincing when you look at the guy and you go, yeah, he looks like he would abuse anything, like just anything. So it's yep. Yeah, he looks like that. It's unfortunate, I'd guess. It's it was probably he's quite an no, not quite like that.
That is unfortunate.
He looks a bit like, I don't know if you know an old English comedian, Ronnie Corbett. He looks a little bit like that in a way. Let me try and find his name, just so that you can get some sort of image of him, because he doesn't look good. Let's put it that way.
I want that image in my mind, frankly. The way
It's,
you described it.
It's quite an old film. Oh man, it's still done it. See, this is the problem. I don't want fucking the Mamas and Papas band. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Even this.
Oh yeah, I've seen him before.
Yeah.
And does he have kind of a pedophile look that we're describing?
I can't.
He has an odd look, but not the pedophile look. Here.
I don't know. Probably ripped.
There you go.
Rip Taylor looks probably a bit better. Rip Taylor's
He
amazing.
looks elfish. I don't know. Oh yeah, Rip Taylor. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, unfortunately, all my British
That was
television is comedy.
you do?
I'm also obsessed with EastEnders.
You're going to
I pay
upset
$10
many
a
people
month
in the world
to
right
watch
now.
EastEnders.
Many people. You pay to what?
Yes.
You pay to fund our worst goddamn television program out there. You're funding the BBC. No way. God damn it.
Oh,
Oh, so you've got
on
the
top of
BritBox
that,
thing.
I'm making Jeff Bezos richer.
You might be able
because
to
I'm
find some of these films I've mentioned on there. I'm pretty certain because they've got
I have the BritBox.
Oh, you've been served.
Yeah. I've been writing it down. It can't all
It
be-
might even be. No, it might not be the same actor, but the guy who's in this horror film he used to be in like a series as well back in the day. I'm sure of it. So he does. You know, he's a bit of a fat guy and he's half balding. Yeah. He's got the big glasses. It's the same. He's got the big fuck off glasses. It's that guy. I know that's
big glasses.
yeah. He's been in a few little shitty horror films, but the main one that I remember him from is just because of that role, and I'm like, you look like a greasy fellow. We won't watch you again. It's other than that, there ain't that. I mean, there is quite a few UK horrors, but they just never make it through the woodwork. You know, they're always getting overshadowed by American films. One of the best, which I don't know if you'd class it as a horror, is Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the words as well, I see.
Of course.
I see you'll be getting into the
Fidelio.
Rothschild's mansion.
That's hilarious.
Ooh. Well, he's from Brooklyn, isn't he? So
Now, here's my question. Speaking of Eyes Wide Shut, do you claim Stanley Kubrick as a Brit? This is important.
well, all of his works
He is, but he
in
basically lived
UK
in
and
England for
so maybe I'd class him as a Brit, but
This is important.
can we steal him at least? We haven't got many. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. You keep the Weinsteins, we'll keep the Kubricks.
You can have him. After Eyes Wide Shut, you
I
can have
mean,
him.
at least my guy's dead. He can't commit any more felonious acts. So
That doesn't seem like a fair trade.
That's not
least,
a fair trade. That's hilarious. No, Eyes Wide Shut is so bizarre. It is so. It's just literally like, what are you trying to convey? What's the plot here of just Tom Cruise just staggering through town?
yeah, so bizarre.
He's like flirting with a chick at the jewelry shop, Lily Sobieski.
I was
like
walking around a
14 or
charity
something
shop
at
the other
time.
week, and I seen a
And he's
mask
hitting the
that looked like it could have been from
underground,
Eyes Wide
mask,
Shut.
sex
It was like this
parlor.
red
I mean,
sort
what
of
the hell is
sun
happening?
mask that had like half. It was like a moon, and I was like, I have to buy that. But unfortunately, we went and got breakfast, and I didn't buy it. I bet you the next time it's in that I go into town, I'm going to buy that mask just as a prop for this show alone, because it was such a cool
Came to your
mask.
senses.
Yeah. The next time I'll be in a hooded cloak, and
If you say so.
I'll have my mask
don't try to
ready.
convince us, pal. Oh God, that movie. Yeah.
I have a friend who lives in London who works for a big international
Yeah.
corporation, and their Christmas party was a masked ball. So everybody's dressed up with a mask.
Sounds like you're going to compromise somebody.
I
What's their name?
It totally was. I was like, I don't know what's going on in the UK. I don't know.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember when that movie came out. There was
Yep.
like this rumor that they had to hire like a sex therapist because they felt like the love scene between Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, who were married, didn't have enough chemistry.
Well, that was right near the end when the Scientology was shutting that business down.
We haven't spoke. I mean, normally I speak about cults and shit like that on my show. We haven't really spoke anything about cults.
Scientology sprinkled in.
Just a sprinkle.
What's your thought? Like, I asked every person from America this. Now, I'm sure these might even be the same sort of
I
responses.
fucking love cults.
What's your thoughts on
I love
Alex
cults.
Jones? InfoWars, yeah.
Oh, InfoWars. Well, if we're gonna get all political, there's a big issue.
You're talking with the right people.
Right. We try to keep it on the DL on our show so as not to offend. But literally, there's a sickness in our nation where it's this kind of the idea of fake news. You know what I mean? The idea of like, you know, it used to be you can have your own opinions, but you can't have your own facts. Now it's like you can have your own facts too. It's like as long as you're only talking to people who say the exact same things as you, then we're in business. You know what I mean? It's horrible.
Well,
it's horrible.
The curse of the internet is you can find support for whatever you want to say, and then you say that, you know, whatever university.
Let's ignore that concrete science.
You can't believe.
You mean facts?
Yeah. Science.
Right, exactly. So,
I mean, they've got it all figured out. Anything that was valid 10 years ago is now thrown out because it's being quoted by mainstream news.
Right.
So now that's unreliable. But some jackass with a YouTube channel who purports to be, I don't know, an LVN or something now has more information than the CDC or the World Health Organization.
Right. It's a shame because also on social media, you know, they have these algorithms. They only care about engagement. So what they'll do is if you click on one video, they're pushing 10 more videos just like
down those rabbit holes.
You know, so you go down these rabbit holes.
Rather than go down them, I take a full hibernation. I get some food, some snacks.
Hence,
stay
Alex
in that
Jones.
hole for 3 weeks, and then
yeah. And go spelunking like The Descent.
And I think it's a failure with the U.S. education system because
critical thinking.
Critical thinking is gone. Everything is dumbed down to raise the level of people going.
It's crazy because I've seen stories about some of your colleges, and they were just having so many It didn't even seem like it was revolving around education because they'd have like they had a donut loop or some bullshit like that. Do you know, for like a pool that goes round? Yeah. There's what are they called? It's a like a lazy river.
Oh, I saw that on the news.
Oh boy, what would you do to kill to have
one of them? I think.
Like a lazy river or whatever.
River.
Yeah. That's like San Diego State. You figure if any school would have a lazy river, it'd be San Diego State. No lazy river back when I was going. No. That would have been a selling point.
It's not the state universities getting lazy rivers. Places that cost $100,000 a year.
Public school
are going to have that to draw people over. Not That's your true. Basic entry.
Not public.
College. Not your public 4-year college that has to accept you as long as you had like a 2.
Well, hang on. San Diego State is an accredited university. Okay.
I went to a state college.
Sorry to get down a political angle. It's just always occasionally good to get more people's opinions.
No, they were not.
You can sort of build up like an overall model of the world.
Of course.
No, sorry. Don't be sorry. We can also have an entire crazy political thing full of our opinions. In our family, because it's so large, we do have a text thread that's just progressive Doughertys, and it's just. I have my phone on.
The only reason I ask is I'm a huge fan of conspiracies, but he seems to be the only person that pumps them, whether they're right or wrong. Well, not the only one, but I mean the only one that's big, massively big. apart from David Icke and
Oh, he's not the only.
He's not the only one.
That's a different
He's not the
conspiracy,
only
though,
one.
isn't it?
Fox News. Fox News.
What's your thoughts on because obviously you're releasing your alien report, not you personally, but obviously
This is
yeah.
just watch movies.
I knew they'd pull you in of all people. But obviously there's going to be a congressional
Well, they did
hearing
ask for
about
my opinion. I'll help out
release
what
of
I
UFO information, and that's literally in the works
want the
right now.
experts.
What's your thoughts on that? No, nobody cares.
Mhm.
And nobody cares.
Graphics.
Nobody.
That's all it
It's
is.
like a mention on the news, like the little trailer that goes across
Right.
the screen, and nobody cares. No one's talking about
Yeah.
it. I think it was out there to take some heat off of something else, and it didn't
Yeah,
work because nobody seems to give a darn. I think
it's going to be very vague.
Say, hey, we saw these.
I think it'd
things,
be very
we don't
vague.
know what they are. I think that's what
That's
the
what I
report's
think.
going to say.
We saw some lights in the sky, and yeah, we don't know. They're still unidentified. Right. I mean, if you have actual aliens roaming around, then I'm interested.
That should be a
Count me in. If there's,
that should be on a
there's
T-shirt.
xenomorph
That should be on a
crawling
T-shirt. Just say no.
Just say
to the
no to
xenomorphs.
the xenomorphs.
around.
Someone will probably read that shirt
That's
and
all
take that
bad.
message the wrong way. Someone will go, "Who, you talking about me?" And you go, "What? You're a fucking xenomorph now?" Jeez. You're getting your wires crossed.
That's true.
my take.
Well, they've just come out with hypersonics.
UFO report is it's probably a Russian or Chinese hack onto the radars. Honestly, if people, I mean, there's
That's
so
no
much
fun.
stuff can be faked. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff that can be faked now. My mind's not close to it. The idea that every sci-fi movie is about to come true, I don't like that.
I don't like
But
that.
they always tell you, the most logical answer is the answer. And with all the hacking going on,
That's very true.
have people seen things? Yeah, but you go to court, people can't identify who's someone who robbed them 3 feet away. So
Right.
Asking to borrow your phone.
when E.T. shows up at my door pointing his old gnarly finger, then I'll believe.
His old gnarly finger.
Yeah, I know.
God, I was thinking about E.T. the other day, and it's like we all thought E.T. was super cute. I think E.T.'s terrifying. He's hideous.
Creepy.
His
What do you
weird
think-
head and his neck, and he's like,
He's like a big thumb with creepy digital.
Like some critters.
It's all terrible.
they could have just made him
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a walk or something. Why not make him like a little furry friend instead of this
Or,
creepy, like,
The other one
God, I
that's a
can't
bit
get into
like
it.
that is
Right.
Langoliers.
I would take a critter. I would take a critter over what wound up in that movie. No question. No question. I saw.
Oh, I saw part of that, and then it was like I didn't have.
That was
a
a made-for-TV.
DVR.
Yeah, it was a made-for-TV. I think it was like
King.
it was starring Balky from Perfect Strangers. If you
Oh,
remember
God.
that sitcom, Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah.
That's a reference.
That is a reference.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because it was a novella from Stephen King's Four Past Midnight, and I think it was the only story that was any good from that collection, if I remember.
They were like orbs, and they would
Yeah.
drop, and it would cut a hole, and they were. The part I saw, people were going to the plane, but the orbs were.
Eat the world.
Because it's like they were out of time, like physically, like out of time and space or something. Like they were kind of stuck in between
The
seconds,
story
and the
itself is pretty
Langoliers
good,
come
but
and
the
kind of
film was shot
delete-
to pieces. It was rubbish.
Right. They delete everything in the past, basically. They're the ones who make sure that what? It's hard to fix. Right. Because it was it was like an ABC Night at the Movies or something. It was like,
Yeah.
It was a miniseries. They were doing that all the
American
time.
made-for-TV movies
Yes.
before Netflix and all that were not a market
Right.
quality. With all the restrictions,
Sorry.
they don't want to pay.
I was trying to work out if it was the worst Stephen King
They were never a
film,
market quality.
but I don't know if it is.
No. They used to them a lot too.
After school.
Oh yeah, Pierce Brosnan. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
there was a movie.
Lawnmower Man.
You
was
read
good.
my mind. Stephen King. Yes,
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan,
Children of
Jeff
the
Fahey.
Corn.
Oh, well, Children of the Corn. It wasn't. Lawnmower Man's a whole nother level. I mean, Stephen King sued them because they literally said Stephen King's Lawnmower Man. He sued them to say, "Get my name off there," because it had nothing to do with the short story. The short story was like 5
Reality,
pages
yeah.
about some guy who mows your lawn.
Yeah.
For reals. And
Yeah.
then they said, like, we're just going to take the title and come up with
I
a
wonder
totally
if
different story
that
about
was-
virtual reality or
It was
something. It's like, what is
like
happening?
Mrs. Doubtfire and stuff as well.
Poor
Maybe.
Pierce Brosnan. What was he thinking?
Oh my God, Pierce Brosnan. See, I didn't even
Yes!
see
Oh
it.
yeah, it was death. How do you go? You go from being the lawnmower man to James Bond.
It was definitely before he was James Bond. It was definitely before that.
Ooh, I don't know. Roger
Yeah,
Moore
that
was
could've
pretty.
derailed the whole train,
you know.
honestly.
Oh my God, he was one of the worst James Bond. Let me just put that out there too.
Oh, I love Roger Moore. Here's the thing. It's like you got Pierce Brosnan. The problem with Pierce Brosnan was not him. It was the movies were kind of lousy. You know, that was the bigger issue.
He's not built to be a spy though, is he?
Right.
Is the problem.
Well, he's like 160 pounds or something.
I
Is
know.
he Scottish?
But he was charming.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I
Those,
mean,
yeah. My bad.
He was English,
saying,
is what you were saying.
None of them were built
He's
like a
Irish.
spy.
Hey,
Do you know what I mean? There was
Pierce
all
Brosnan's
kind
Irish.
of a bit overweight, and
Sean Connery's
you
Scottish.
think
Yeah.
you for a spy you'd want some crafty ninja type guy, not a middle-aged man who has to wear a girdle and all that shit. And
You would, yes.
that's what they do.
That was Roger Moore. Yes.
that was
I was-
Roger Moore.
I
That
was
was
laughing.
campy. That was
Yes.
campy Bond.
I was laughing because
That's-
Sean Connery's obviously great James Bond, but late model Sean Connery, I swear he was like 40, but he looked like he was 60. He was so weathered. Because he was wearing a toupee since like 63 or something, you know what I mean? And the toupees were getting worse and worse, and the skin was like leather. Too much time on the golf
They were
course.
so
I don't give a shit. He's
I
still
didn't even think you'd see
I
him
love
run.
Sean- Hey,
Pick
don't get
him
me wrong.
up and shove him
I don't even think you could.
No
Never seen him
question.
run. He'd just be around the door. Like there'd be some guy who'd run off and then he'd come round the door. You'd never see
No.
A to B. He'd always be
It
there.
was
in the
That's how
room.
cool.
unnecessary.
Like Jason.
No
He'd be
question.
there like Jason.
He's not breaking a sweat.
Sean Connery, he's exactly like Jason. Sean Connery, he was a badass in real life. There's a story
That's
of
how
him
he
going to
says
a bar with Michael Caine, and he gave Michael Caine his jacket and then proceeded to beat the ass of like 4 gang members single-handedly. He was in a movie with Lana Turner, who was famously dating gangster Johnny Stompanato. Johnny Stompanato was getting
bonkers.
jealous of
You
Sean
know he
Connery,
probably was just
and he pulled the gun,
fueled
and
on
Sean Connery took
whiskey
the gun from him
all
and pistol
day.
whipped him with it.
Whiskey and cigars. Cigars, and
Connery's
love
the
from women.
best.
He was a badass.
That's what made
He
him
was a
such a
badass.
badass. With that accent of his. That's all.
Oh, no
He could
question.
just walk
No
into a
question.
bar and he'd walk out easily.
Yep.
Easily with an armful of
no
women.
question.
Back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I think they're casting the new one now, aren't they? The new James Bond. They're in talks with it.
I love Sean Connery.
Mm.
No question.
Mm. I think.
It
We don't know who
Elba?
yet. I would like Idris Elba. I think you do a good job.
And then I heard there's a woman, maybe.
There was talk of that. That in the new one coming out, like
Men in Black. That sounds like Men in
at
Black.
the beginning of the movie, so they give
Sounds
him
like Men in
to
Black.
somebody
All of
else.
them as well.
So
Every
they
Men
have
in
to work
Black.
together.
1, 2, 3,
I've
and the
heard
remake.
something along these
That
lines.
happened in every single one.
Come on.
Oh,
That's what it was.
just remakes.
Son of a.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I think
That was diminishing returns as well.
Subject to Gremlins. They're meant to be remaking that as well, aren't they? But
The
as an
first
animated.
one, of course, the first one's always good.
That's
Right.
really strange. I think they're going to bring more female Gremlins into that. Because obviously Gremlins didn't really have a sex, did they? Up until that.
I heard
up
that.
until the accidental one that blatantly had sex and raped that guy. She had her way.
Well,
She had her way with that guy
no, 'cause
blatantly. Me too'd him. Fucking nailed him.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
She Weinsteined him.
It's a good scene though.
it was a different
I'm sure
time.
that
It was a different
whoever-
time when they made Gremlins.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
In oh yeah, there was in Basket Case.
There was like a rape scene in Basket.
Yeah.
Basket Case, wasn't there? Oh,
Yes, there was.
that was so
Yes.
disturbing. I was like,
So bizarre.
Well, see, it was almost necrophilic.
Why?
It was
I know.
very
You wonder why
necrophilic.
cancel culture
Oh,
come
the
out of nowhere.
brother's girlfriend.
Why ain't no one talking
Yes.
about these films? Everyone's talking about the latest Hollywood film. But
Who
no
writes
one's
this stuff?
really discussing the hardcore shit that we've made as humans. No one's talking about it. Maybe
Right.
they'll cancel Brain Damage before that one. They'll.
Can't we go back and cancel Basket Case? Is that too much to ask?
Oh.
Oh, please.
Which one was the one with the what is
Oh,
it, the
From
female
Beyond.
gland?
From Beyond.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yeah. What was it? You turn on
Nah.
the device. I can't
Yeah,
remember
that
the
was-
name of the device, and it stimulates
That,
your.
who was
brain
in that? Who was
and eventually it just
the
grows
villain
out of your
guy?
head. And it's not the pineal gland, Aaron. It's the pineal.
It looked like a pineal gland.
I thought maybe I'm getting confused with another film.
Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton.
That's the
was
one where
in
he
it,
goes,
and,
he's like contacting that different sort of
Anybody
That's all you need to
universe, isn't he,
know.
with that machine? Yeah,
That's all you need to know, I think.
yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's really very trippy visual film. Isn't that? Wasn't that based on?
Yes, you turn on the
Lovecraft?
machine and suddenly you see
Yeah.
like jellyfish
Yeah.
floating in the air. around you.
Loosely based on Lovecraft.
It is.
Wasn't turning 6
H.P.
pages
Lovecraft,
into an
yeah.
hour and 20 minutes of
Loosely.
bullshit. Let's put it that way.
Loosely based. It wasn't. It
The other
wasn't
good one that
Lawnmower
just come
Man
out was The
level.
Colour of Space with Nick Cage,
But it
and
was-
that's another Lovecraft. Ooh. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. It was another Lovecraft, and it's directed by the guy who wrote and started to direct Island of Dr. Moreau with Val Kilmer.
Oh, sweet baby.
The
Jesus.
original director before John Frankenheimer took over. We talked about that. They kicked off that director, and he came back to set in disguise. So if you watch the movie, you see him wearing like the dog. He was the crazy dog boy in the background. Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
great movie. Apocalypse Now.
You just couldn't let go.
That truly is a
It was
masterpiece.
a rip-off of Apocalypse Now. That's all it was.
That's exactly what it is.
Apocalypse Now? Yeah, it's super.
It
I mean,
scarred me for.
You don't really watch like war kind of films when you're young, but when you get older and you watch them, you go, man, these are fucking damn good. It's the same for Full Metal Jacket. That's a masterpiece. An absolute.
Right.
He was fucked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Do you know what's funny about Apocalypse Now is we think of
Yep.
Marlon Brando as kind of late model Marlon Brando, where he's kind of mailing in his performances. He was mailing in Apocalypse Now. He came in like 200 pounds overweight, and they had to basically film him in shadow because he looked so. And he would never learn his lines. So even like in The Godfather,
Wow.
of,
That's terrible.
Robert
Oh no, it's
Duvall with,
amazing.
like, a script stapled to his like shirt. So when he's acting
It's-
opposite,
well, the
Marlon
thing is,
Brando,
he's
could
a
just
rock
read the
star, isn't he?
lines.
Essentially, in terms
And he was
of
great
the
in
film industry,
Godfather.
he probably didn't need
But
to
it's
come on
crazy.
set and learn his lines.
It's like you can learn.
He
your
probably
damn
had some
lines,
sort of
guys.
carte
It's
blanche to
fair
go,
bit.
no, I'll say this. This is a better thing to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Clearly. Do a little ad-libbing.
Well, the best part of Island of Dr. Moreau is Val Kilmer channeling his inner
The only,
Apocalypse Now.
before I forget it again, the last
Oh my God,
person I'll
he's
talk
so
about as a
ridiculous.
director, David
Val
Cronenberg.
Kilmer just didn't
Haven't
give a
haven't mentioned David Cronenberg
That movie's
once,
such a
considering
train wreck.
the amount
That
of
movie's such a train wreck.
spectacular horrors that he's done.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
No question. We need to do a little more Cronenberg. You know, here's
Yeah,
the
well-
thing. You know, he had a cameo in Jason
I have to
X
guess that.
to bring it all back.
I did not know.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
Check
see
it
if I-
out.
Don't
Yeah,
tell me
Robin's
where
good.
it is, because when we watch Jason
It's
X, I
fun-
want to be able to see if I can figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Cronenberg. I love
Scanners is another good one.
I love
Scanners was a more earlier one, wasn't it, than The Fly?
I mean, there's
The
of course,
Fly.
there's The Fly. Good
Oh,
time.
we're
Yeah.
doing the Fly.
Scanners.
We're
We
doing
did
The Fly.
Scanners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Scanners.
Scanners is old. I just remember when it came out, I saw it at the theater. We just sat there and stared at each other.
I don't know where they found it.
Like, don't piss me off. I'm gonna make your head explode right now.
Scanners is hilarious because the lead actor, I don't know where.
Yeah.
He is like.
Well, that's probably why he was so
there's like
cheap,
no
because he learns his lines.
This was just not one. Yeah, I guess that's.
Well,
the
listen,
choice.
let's we're on like an hour 50,
He did
so
learn his lines.
let's
though,
round.
So I guess that's something.
And I know you guys normally do like an hour, so I'm super
Exactly.
impressed that you've managed to put up with me for an hour 50
Yeah.
talking bullshit. That's but no, we'll round it up there. It's been a
Yeah.
oh, go on. Oh,
we can
yes.
talk bullshit forever and ever.
That's
and,
true.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Dead Zone. The Dead
That,
Zone.
of course. The house is on fire. I love me some Christopher Walken. And what's funny about that movie?
Yeah.
It is remarkably
That was a good-
straight for a Cronenberg.
That was a
movie.
good
There isn't, like,
Christopher
weird
Walken
body
impression,
horror
by the
or
way.
anything like
Can you
that.
do his
And it's the most.
Catch Me If You Can?
most
Two
likely
mice.
book.
You know,
It's not a total
fall into a book.
departure.
I can't. I'm terrible at it. I don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
accents very well. I'm terrible at them. Well, listen, this has been a great show. Thanks again to Kevin and Erin from
That's hilarious.
from the podcast that wouldn't die. Again, so much overspill there that I forgot the name of your podcast. Good hosting skills.
Yes.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Obviously we can follow you on Spotify and Anchor, and
We're on all,
obviously I'll-
any place that your finer podcasts are sold.
But
So
not
check it.
SoundCloud. Not SoundCloud.
Apple
Apple.
Podcasts,
Pandora.
We're on, we're
Isn't that-
on
isn't
all-
that a planet?
all that stuff. We're on the good. So you can also
iHeart,
we're on iHeart. We're on Amazon Music.
Avatar.
Pandora. We're pretty much on everything, I think.
Yeah,
Pandora.
it's well, who'd ever
Oh,
believe
right,
it based
yes,
on
and
a true
Avatar.
story, eh?
Avatar.
Yes, with the rare mineral unobtainium. Yes, very clever.
Well,
Good
listen,
stuff. Pocahontas.
Absolutely.
Is basically what it is.
Well, this has been the Posthuman
Good
Podcast,
times.
and I'll catch you all
Yeah,
later.
we're on
Thank you
Twitter.
very
We're
much.
on Facebook. Check us out.